What's next?
Well, Phillip Fotopoulos, he says, Mission Impossible Fallout is my favorite movie of 2018 so far. It felt like they took everything great about the series and took it up a notch. I read recently that they're already planning Mission Impossible 7. My question is, how much more bonkers can they possibly get? Where do you take the story from here? How do you top MI6? Well, they could take a page from the James Bond franchise and go into space, the same way that James Bond did, because that
Mission
worked
Impossible
out so well.
Moonraker.
I'm in, and you know, Tom Cruise is already calling NASA. He's like, so how do I get into how do I get into orbit? I mean, it's a race between who goes to space first, Tom Cruise or James Cameron.
Or Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I forgot about that. My God, yes. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Whoever gets there first, we win.
Well, look, here's the thing, though. When you look at, and by the way, you're right. They are, Tom Cruise is already talking about that. The director of the last couple of Mission Impossible films, and who's worked with Tom Cruise on many films, Christopher McQuarrie, he was asked about like a possible Mission Impossible 7, and he said this. This is a little something he said. He said, I can tell you Tom already has a lot of really big ideas. World-topping shit. And that's Christopher McQuarrie talking about where they're at. So clearly we are going to have a Mission Impossible 7 coming. That's there. But how much more crazy can they get? You talk about going to space, but let's not forget that Tom Cruise almost already did that. With The Mummy, they did that one scene in the plane where they literally took their plane to the edge of the atmosphere and then did a dive to create real zero-G. They couldn't just CGI it. Tom Cruise wants realism. So they do that. So he's already hung himself off the side of a plane. He's already piloted a helicopter himself. They're talking now that in Top Gun 2, they wanted to delay it so Tom Cruise could figure out and learn how to fly a fighter jet himself so he can do some of the flying himself. How much further does Tom Cruise right now, it seems to me, he is in a window where he is now trying to define his legacy right now. Because look, and that's a pretty brilliant thing. There was a period of time where if Tom Cruise's career ended now, his legacy was defined by jumping up and down on Oprah's couch looking like a crazy man.
Right.
And then came along Tropic Thunder, which completely saved his career. And now he's kind of in this area now where he is the Caucasian North American Jackie Chan, doing all these crazy stunts himself, going to the furthest degree, breaking his ribs, doing all that kind of stuff. At some point, though, there has to be a law of diminishing returns where we go, there's only so much you can do, Tom. And listen, you joke about going into space. You joke about going into space. But I'm telling you what, that's in Tom Cruise's mind somewhere. He's got to be thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Either that or some villain has some kind of climate-destroying bomb on the top of Mount Everest. And he's going to go to the top of Mount Everest and like rappel down with some, those flying wings they had in Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon through the Chicago skyline. He's going to fly from the top of Mount Everest in one of those wingsuits to China, whatever. I don't know, but it's going to be awesome.
It's almost like he wants to do a sequel that Gerard Butler, what was that called? Geostorm. And Tom Cruise, Geostorm 2.
Or Lockout, that movie, the Escape from New York ripoff that Luc Besson produced when they were in orbit.
In space with the dude from, not Insomnia, from Memento. What's that actor's name from Memento? Guy Pearce. I loved that movie. I unabashedly loved that Lockout movie. I thought that was great.
I mean, why don't they do a Tom Cruise, Kurt Russell team up? Where they finally make the third Escape from New York movie, Escape from Earth.
Because Kurt Russell's is busy playing Santa Claus right now in Netflix movies.
Was awesome.
Did you watch it?
I loved it.
Really?
I loved it.
I didn't even bother watching, but it was good?
It's really good.
All right.
I mean, as far as Christmas movies go, it's when I say really good, it's a movie where Kurt Russell's playing Santa Claus. But in that realm, it's the best Kurt Russell playing Santa Claus movie I can possibly imagine.
All right, but let me ask you this question, though. Getting serious really for a second. Tom Cruise has redefined himself as a true, legit action star.
Absolutely.
Obviously, doing a Mission Impossible 7 is a no-brainer. The audience is loving Mission Impossible. They seem to just be keeping a really high note. I didn't think Mission Impossible 6 was the best of the bunch, but I thought it was incredible. Tom Cruise is in his 50s. Well into his 50s.
Well into his 50s.
How much longer can Tom Cruise go? Hanging off of the side of airplanes, jumping across buildings, doing this insane, nutty stuff. really, how much more does he have in the tank?
Well, you know that the old adage, like 40 is the new 30.
That's true.
I think with Tom Cruise, 70 is the new 55. You know, he's still a very young-looking, virile guy, and I think he's just now coming into his looks. You know, he's beginning to look like the badass that he's been for like the last 20 years, but he's getting a little bit more lines on his
looks
face.
like a man now.
He looks like
a man.
I think he's got at least 15 good years.
Really?
I'm waiting for riskier business. When's he going to make riskier business? What happens when Joel Goodson's kids grow up and they go to college?
But I mean,
I want to see that movie.
You look at an not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but a Sylvester Stallone who, think what you will about the Expendables movies. The fact of the matter is, some of the stuff that he's still able to do and pull off in an action element at least 15 plus years of where Tom Cruise is now, who knows?